Good afternoon everybody, it's Brett here, Lionheart84. It's the first Sunday in May, not raining, so I thought I'd do my monthly beginning of the month garden tour. That I'd do a quick walk around to see what's coming into growth and what's changed. So I'm going to start with my pomegranate. This is the unnamed one that I bought a couple of years ago, leafing out into growth nicely now. Has got one or two very small buds, flower buds on it, which don't seem to be doing much at the moment. I guess we get some more warm weather, there's a chance they'll flower, though last year all the flower buds I had actually fell off the tree. Never got any at all, unfortunately. So let's walk around to the side here. I'm doing both my ornamental and the fruiting plants today, obviously. That's my butylons flowering very nicely now. Here's my Actinidia arguta Isai. This will be its third season. It has actually got a few buds on it, flower buds. Unfortunately, I can't really show them closely because they're typically enough, they're on one shoot that's right at the top of the plant. I'm sort of leaning over into my neighbour's garden, and I haven't got any flower buds on my side at all. That's just typical. Whether or not they're going to flower and set any fruit, I don't know. There's probably about a dozen buds up there, maybe less. But this one is meant to be self-fertile, otherwise the plant looks fine. We haven't had any more frost since it got its damage at the beginning of April, so it's recovered nicely and looking very good now. Obviously, as you know, I've got lots of Agipanthus around the garden. This is a, forget the name, but it's a small Daphne. Flowers from about, well, I suppose it'll start in May and it should flower right through to December or January. Did do this year. It's having a little break at the moment. At the back there is my Chilean guava. That's Ugly Molyneux, and that variety is Flambeau. That's the multicoloured variegated one. Should get some flowers and fruits on it this year. In front of it is my one of my camellias finished flowering now. Down here is this is the Myers lemon that I decided to plant in the garden a couple of years ago. As you can see, the leaves are very yellow. Despite various treatments, they still seem to have stayed yellow. However, it didn't really grow last year, but this year you can probably just make out it's got lots of new shoots coming up on it. So it survived the winter in the garden. I'm hoping that I'm actually going to get some growth on it this year, and I will try and feed it with probably something that's got sequestrine in to try and make sure it's getting enough iron and it's staying acidic. One of my new Daphnes at the back there, that's the light green flower one. That's a Daphne odora variety. Plenty more Agipanthus at the front. Coming up now, my Remus, common name I think is foxtail lilies. Didn't put on much for show last year, but it looks like I'm going to get 3 flower heads this year. And another Daphne odora at the back, that's my variegated one. I've got 3 varieties of blueberry. First one here just coming into flower now is Chandler. Hasn't got many flower buds on it. Don't know why, probably because I think it needs to concentrate on growing this year. Obviously one of my French lavenders at the front now in full flower, which looks lovely. First of my in-ground pineapple guavas. This one is Mammoth. Just starting to send out new shoots now. I'm hoping to get a few more flowers on this year and probably a few more fruit. Next blueberry has set some fruits. That one is Jersey. And the final blueberry, which has got a lot more fruits on it, this flowered earlier than the others, is Darrow. They're my 3 in-ground blueberries. Another Remus or foxtail lily at the back there, sending up 3 flower spikes. They should get to should be about 3 feet tall in their flower, which is very nice. My Passiflora amethyst, this is my ornamental one, coming back into growth now. hasn't suffered too much damage over winter, so we didn't have a cold winter. I would expect in about 3 or 4 weeks time that will be flowering again. This is my largest pineapple guava. This is an unnamed variety, probably just a seedling variety. Had a lot of flowers on it last year and carried quite a few fruit. They were very rounded, a round golf ball shaped and sized fruit, not the larger oval fruits that I had on my other ones. So not the best variety in the world, but it's doing okay. At the back there I've got my only in-ground persimmon. This is supposed to be an Asian persimmon, so that'd be a Diospyros khaki. It's not a named variety. I'm presuming it was a seedling grown one, came from Bernkoos nurseries. Seems to be well ahead of my other persimmons. It's in a nice sheltered position, but of course as it's seedling growing, not likely to fruit for another 3 or 4 years. Next to it is my Caesalpinia. I think it's Pulcherima, but I'll look that up and put the Latin name later. It's coming out leaf. That's a Mediterranean shrub, which I hope might get some flowers on it this year. They're a nice sort of big red and yellow, interesting looking flower. It's very rare in this country, but we'll see what happens. At the front here, my bush pomegranate. This is the in-ground one, doing very nicely. Unnamed variety, came from Bernkoos again. Tucked away behind that, you can probably just about see it, is my pawpaw variety Sunflower. I was thinking of taking that one out of the ground and putting it in a container so that it got more light, but I'm going to leave it for the time being and see what happens. Now, doing very nicely at the back here is my Cardiocrinum. I think it's Cardiocrinum giganteum. That's like a biennial lily, and I'm hoping that might flower this year because it's been its 2nd year in ground, and I believe they produce about 6 or 7 foot flower stems, so we'll see what happens. At the back's coming into growth now. I did get some frost damage early. Another ornamental climber is my Campsis radicans. I think it's Campsis radicans. Again, I'll confirm all these names later and put them in the Latin names on. Callistemon, bottle brush, shortly going to be in full flower. You can see all the flower buds coming out now. It's going to look beautiful in a couple of weeks' time. At the back there is my Buddleia. That'll be making a nice display in about a month's time. There's my 3rd in-ground pineapple guava off Ijoa. This variety's Triumph. Did have 1 fruit on it last year, but obviously it's breaking out to growth now, so I'm hoping I'm going to get more flower buds this year. And obviously if I get more flower buds, hopefully more fruit. This is my largest in-ground pawpaw, Asamina triloba. This is an unnamed variety, a seedling variety. It again came from Bernkoos nurseries, so as it's not a grafted one, maybe another 3 or 4 years before it produces any flower buds, but obviously it should grow better in grounds than my pot grown ones. Now this one at the end is, if I remember rightly, a crenum. Not flowered as yet, but it's now got to a size, so I hope I'm going to get flowers this autumn. Behind it, my tree peony. Not a tree yet, but has had 2 lovely flowers on it this year. Now I've just got my, I think I'll feature another video, a few strawberries that I managed to keep alive over winter and have now potted up. Mix of varieties, can't remember the names, that got quite a few flowers on them, so should get a few fruits this year, and even the ones that were looking very weedy seem to be recovering, but they've got plenty of flowers on them, so I should have strawberries in June and July. A few potatoes I threw in, main crop potatoes were in the fridge and we're shooting or past the stage of eating, so I thought I'd throw them in a bag and see what happens. Can't remember the variety at the moment, but we'll see if we get any potatoes this year. Now switching over to the other side, got at the back there my 2 mulberries leafing out nicely. First one is the pink Moldovan. That has the larger leaves. Has got a few flower buds showing on it, so I might get a couple of pink mulberries to try this year. And next to it is the Illinois Everbearing, which is already covered, shooting out nicely, and it's covered in flower buds. So again, I'm optimistic that I should have a few mulberries this season. In front of the mulberries I've got my 4 jujubes. There's 2 Lee and 2 Lang. They're shooting out probably a month earlier than last year, because last year was the first season I had them. So they did flower last year, but I didn't get any fruits on them. But again, I'm hoping there's a possibility I'll get some fruits this year. I won't go through all the persimmon varieties, but I will show this one. This is my Chocolatino. The reason I show it is it's got quite a lot of flower buds on it this year, so I might possibly get 1 or 2 persimmons. You never really know, because they tend to drop in the first 2 or 3 years. They tend to drop most of their flowers, but there's a possibility that I might get a fruit or 2. I will show the 2 Asian pears. The thin one behind it is Hong Lee. That's got 1 pear on it. I'm going to leave that, see if it makes it to maturity, because it'd be nice to taste one. And the one behind it is a Shinziki, which, like last year, is also carrying only 1 pear this year. Seemed to have suffered a bit in winter, and for whatever reason the stems have had dieback on it, but it's looking okay now, so I'm going to try and get that well fed and see if I can really get some growth into that this year. So I'm going to feed it heavily during the growing season, see if I can get these lower branches to put some growth on, to get some more flowers and fruit next year. I'm just going to whiz over the other persimmons. There's no point me going through them all, because I did a persimmon video the other day, but they all seem to be shooting out now, even the ones that were looking a bit dodgy, like that one. That one there seems to be recovering because it had some dieback on it. That was a Zukis. But most of the others now seem to be shooting out, and I'm hoping that I've got past the stage of any frost damage on them, because these young shoots are very, very tender and prone to frost damage. But they're all shooting out nicely, so I'm pleased with the progress on those. 2 more pawpaw varieties here. First one is Pennsylvania Golden. Second one is KSU Atwood, very small, only grew a couple of inches last year. The one that I've had that's flowered this year is Prima. No sign of any flowers actually setting. They seem to be just dropping off and dying, but I'm not surprised, because I haven't got another variety flowering to cross-pollinate it. Although it's allegedly self-fertile, I've never really had any success with I have not heard much success with self-fertile pawpaws, so we'll see what happens. Got another Chilean guava here. This is another one of the variety Flambeau. Got a number of figs breaking out into growth now. The one at the front here, just checking, is a brown turkey. The one behind I bought off an eBay seller. I think it's meant to be, let me check, Neapolitana Nigra, but he didn't seem to be too sure about that. Behind it is my pomegranate Molar Delche. That's doing very nicely. Going through the rest of the figs, this is the one at the back is an unnamed one. It was just known as, he just referred to it as Jason Large Red. That's the one at the back there. This one at the front, again I'm going to check the name. Another unnamed one, Cypress Giant. Okay, this one here, which is split into 2 quite nicely, is Goutte d'Or. Again, it's starting out into growth. No real sign of, not many Brabus this year. The one at the back is a small one, is a Verdone, but it seems to be doing okay. This one is meant to be a striped panache, or panache. Haven't seen any sign of variegation, so probably yet another one that's been named incorrectly by the nursery. Let me see. Sorry, press pause there. At the back I've got my 2 chocolate vines, both the same variety. One's flowered this year. There's a handful of embryo fruit on them, but they look as if they're probably going to dry up and drop off. I don't think there'll be any likelihood of getting fruit on them. Here's my one and only pecan I've got here. Can't remember the name of the variety. These are very late to leaf out, apparently. I think this one is Carlson, but sorry, help I pointed the camera in the right place. I think this one is Carlson. They leaf out very late, but I'm still optimistic of something happening. Another Chilean guava. This one is called Butterball. This is another pomegranate. This is meant to be Provence. Again, I'm a bit suspicious of nurseries lettering and labelling in this country. Got a nice pretty little strawberry down here, which is the pink flowered one. I think it was called Strawberries and Cream, but I've lost all the labels for them now. Get down to my final 3 pot growing pineapple guavas. Let me see, one of them, the first one at the back is a mammoth. I think this one here is a Triumph, and the third one is Gemini. Don't know anything about Gemini, so it'd be interesting to see if it flowers, what the fruits are like. And my final in-ground plant, potted plant here, just ornamental, is my Calicanthus. This variety is Aphrodite. Again, don't know if it'll flower this year, but if it does, I'll be looking forward to those. I have got a couple of in-ground passion fruits here, maypops, but no sign of any life on them. They die back under the ground in the winter and supposedly come up in the spring, but whether or not I'm going to see anything, or whether or not they've just died, because although they're dormant in the winter and very hardy, they don't like our cold wet winter. They don't like our wet winters. It tends to rot them, so don't know if we'll see anything. And hidden and behind and here against the wall, I've got the remains of a passion fruit, which is Passiflora edulis, the purple one, which is a tropical one. I just left it out as an experiment because I had nowhere to put it, to see if it was going to survive the winter. And although the stem's green, there's no real sign of any growth appearing on it, so I'm not sure if it's going to recover in the next week or two. We'll just have to wait and see. Excuse me sniffing, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, or it's hay fever. I've uncovered my alocasia. Looks like that's going to make a recovery, so I'm happy with that. My variegated rhododendron. A few more Edgepanthus. And finally my last 2 camellias. Well, when I say finally, not quite finally, because I have got one last fig to show, which is my largest one, which I had the longest, my Rouge de Bordeaux. Again, allegedly. And that one has actually got a Braber fig on it. Sorry, can't really focus on it when it's up in the sky. It's got one Braber on it. Probably when it gets to ripeness, we'll see if it is a Rouge de Bordeaux or something else. Quite often when you buy the figs over in the nurseries, they have them labelled up, and then when you get a fig, it turns out to be a brown turkey, unfortunately. Anyway, that was just a quick garden tour. That's my beginning of May one. So if you refer back to this beginning of June, beginning of July, you better obviously see how things grow in the next month or so. Thanks everybody for watching. It's much appreciated. A bit of a long video, so I don't expect you've seen it all. Please do give me a thumbs up if you can, like the video. You're welcome to share it. Appreciate it if you do subscribe to my channel, and obviously if you hit the bell, you will get notifications so that when my next update videos appear, you'll get to see them. And I should have a lot more things in flower by the beginning of June, and I'll catch up with the next video. Brett out for now.